this dream, which I guess is still around, but in those days, he spoke a lot about MIS, multiple income streams. And fortunately, me not being a financial background person was probably a good thing, because I got involved in so many different platforms. Some of them were very good, most of them were scams. And it, of course, helps to identify a real business compared to a scam setup. And so here I am today on board with Gerald's in something that's really seriously awesome. It's compared to all the other things that I was ever involved with, this is a real deal. And for all of those that will be listening here tonight, this is the place to be. It is the right time, especially in today's world. So Gerald, thank you for that time so many years back. And when I was first trying to work out this Bitcoin space, I remember once buying Bitcoin from you with 4 silver coins. Oh, that was awesome.
I remember that day. and can I say, honestly, I took those silver coins and I bought a gym with it. So, and I got changed. The guy gave me a beer for a change. So.
Different world.
Different world.
No, excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, thank you very much also for joining us tonight. The guests that are here online, welcome. I think it's one of the best things that have personally happened to me. I was introduced to the cryptocurrency space already in 2015, and around about last year, October, somebody asked me, Gerald, what are you doing with your Bitcoin? And yeah, I said, not much, but I'm busy with other things. So MTI was presented to me just as an investor. I was not looking for anything else. And yeah, it went from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. And in the end, I think one of the best moves that I did, I studied every single video that I could. I studied every single information session. And I had people like Glenn, like Niku, where we soundboarded off each other. We literally sat down and said, this is how I see it. How do you see it? So yeah, it's been a life changer for us as a family, also for some of our friends. And tonight we asked Glenn, I call him my pilot. We also have that joke going around. So Glenn, my pilot, is going to do tonight what I think is the best thing ever, and that's doing a presentation about MTI. So guys, let's start. I'm just going to make sure that everybody stays muted, please. It's very important. If you have got any questions, we will allow at the end of the presentation to also share any questions with you guys. So guys, please help me welcome up Mr. Glenn Myburg.
Thank you very much, Gerald, and thanks for the introduction. Yes, so I live in Paarl in the Western Cape. And so as Gerald's already mentioned, my industry is flying. I had the privilege of flying in the South African Air Force for 15 years, and then spent the last 20 years flying internationally in a variety of different airlines, mostly freight worldwide to every continent on the planet. And more recently, for the last 2 years, I've been flying for a local domestic passenger airline. And yes, so just some of you might have missed, but Gerald and I have a bit of a history going back some years, trying very many entrepreneur avenues to generate an additional income, looking for that sweet spot of finding the ideal passive income. So I'm first of all not a financial person in any means, and it's possibly a good thing because that made me adventurous in looking for something. And having discovered so many scams out there, it's helped me identify Mirror Trading International, MTI as we call it, as being the right place to be, where things are really work the way it's advertised. So I joined MTI as early as May last year. And I called Johann Steinberg in those days. There was no network or internet or, how do you say, website as such about the company. There was nothing. And very tentatively, with lots of skepticism, I put in $100 because that's the minimum. And there was no referral system. It was purely a matter of just start and sit as an investor. So that's what I am today. I'm purely an investor and watch this company grow and develop and expand at such a phenomenal rate. So the first thing is to again clarify that everything that's presented here is not considered as financial advice. And me as a member of MTI, I'm not a financial advisor, but I just enjoy this opportunity to share my personal experience of MTI. And everything that we propose that we have experienced isn't necessarily a guarantee that we will, and the new members are going to have the same results ahead. So Ameritrade International, as I mentioned, started April last year, 2019, with the CEO and the developer, Johan Steinberg. And it's a registered company in South Africa. The MTI offers a trading service. It's not a financial advisory company, and the head office is based very close to where I'm living in Stellenbosch. Their legal advisors are up near Johannesburg, Ulrich Rue and Associates. The basic, what's advertised by MTI is to grow your investment. And the way that they grow the investment is by building a Bitcoin portfolio. So that'll become more apparent why they've chosen Bitcoin to do this. But from my personal experience, I have seen how my Bitcoin has doubled to the point last year, November, where I decided, okay, so it's time to add in more. And that doubled again last month in May. So they've made the Bitcoin the base currency. And that means that it's Bitcoin that we deposit into the system. The profits are converted into Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin is then returned back to us as we withdraw. So the Bitcoin is never converted into any currency. It stays Bitcoin throughout. We pride ourselves in the consistency and transparency. With reference to the other platforms I was involved in the past couple of years, that's the one thing that failed mostly was the transparency. Yes, they had a back office. Yes, there was an internet service. But the problem was you could never prove that what they were saying they were doing is really what they were doing. And obviously, with my naivety and trusting the things the way they were, it never really bothered me. And yeah, I kind of guess that's probably why now that I can see the difference with this company, while so many of them failed. So this is, for me, one of the most important aspects that makes this company set apart to anything else I've ever tried. So to discuss why they've used Bitcoin, I just want to take us back to where we are today. We're all familiar with the rand. We were familiar with Forex in the way of pounds, euros, and dollars, or depending where you want to refer to in the world. But all of this money is called fiat currency. The fiat currencies are kept in banks. The banks do the trading for us, and we have bank accounts that keep this very fiat currency. The banks are developed today from what started 2,000 years ago when the first coins were made. Those coins were used in those days all the way through to now for some kind of trading. But as the system advanced, the banks used, if you remember, going back about 40 odd years ago, the checkbook was the in thing. So you could have your currency in a bank note until 1971, that was backed by gold. So at least you could literally go to a bank and say, I want my gold value of whatever the note was. But since 1971, the governments now say they guarantee the value of your notes, the value of your currency. And we can see how inflation started rapidly from those days to the point where our neighbor Zimbabwe ran out of money completely some years back. So it's a very dangerous place that we live in the fiat currency, where the government is promising you the value of its money, but it just loses its value, as we've seen over the years. So it's solidly unsound. Nevertheless, the actual technology in the banks of today, going back to 2015, there was a white paper that was written in Scotland that discussed the digital Scottish pound. Just 3 weeks ago, France were testing the digital euro. If you look at Citibank, JP Morgan Bank, Barclays, You look at those banks, even here, RMB in our country, they're all moving on to this blockchain technology, which is what Bitcoin is basing itself on. And all of them are already operating with this token, with this digital token. So the digital sense is quite common to us today, even if we don't understand what Bitcoin is. When we swipe our credit cards or we withdraw from an ATM, all of that is happening through a digitized platform. So when you look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin is just so far superior because it is a dedicated, from the start, a cryptocurrency. And what it means for us is that there's no borders for Bitcoin. Bitcoin can be spent any part of the world in any currency you're selling it in, and within 20 minutes, it will move from one part of the planet to the other. And the transaction fees are so minimalistic. So Bitcoin is such a clever idea to base this business on. And it'll become more apparent as we go through our discussion shortly. So the Bitcoin, for those who already know about Bitcoin or have heard about Bitcoin, there are fluctuations in the price of Bitcoin. Now, this part is where I don't really struggle with the way that Bitcoin fluctuates. My advantage being, when I was in Russia, China, Japan, Far East, wherever it might have been, South America, North America, in whatever country that I was of the day, it mattered what the currency of that country was. And I look at Bitcoin being a currency on its own. Yes, in South Africa, it's not regarded as a currency. In South Africa, it's not regarded as a financial instrument. But in real terms, I'm able to generate proper fiat currency money when I sell the Bitcoin. However, while I'm operating in Bitcoin, as if I was in America, I'd be operating dollars. In the Bitcoin world, I don't really worry about what the price of Bitcoin is day to day. I'm just excited when I see every day that the size of my Bitcoin is growing. Where it does matter what the price is if I decide to sell the Bitcoin. Normally for me, to pay my accounts and bills, that would be a withdrawal on a Monday. And then it's relative to whatever the price is of how much money I will get for the amount of Bitcoin that I sell. But other than that, whatever I buy the Bitcoin for to start my investment, I'm excited to just see the next day it was more than the previous day. And it does really become exciting when you've seen your Bitcoin size double and you've done nothing to do it to make it double. We've had trades conducted by this, we call it the artificial trading software, we call it a bot. And that trade is being done on our behalf. So all we see is in our back office, we can see the full disclosure of these trades that are conducted. And for those people who know how to trade, they've shown me how you can go back and you can actually prove the trades that we are witnessing on a real trades platform. You can go and check exactly what the trade was, and you can verify the trades that they're claiming to make for us. So it's again, parts of the transparency that they allow us and that they give us access to. So the bottom line, the heartbeat of this whole operation is trading. That's where their focus is for the benefit of our own situation, our own investment, is that it must grow daily. And it's been growing daily. The software has been used for the last 3 years, and it has created a growth of about 10% per month on average. So the future of Bitcoin itself, it's really the future of our currencies. It's still decentralized, meaning no one can control it. And what I really enjoy about this whole Bitcoin space, when I was first introduced to it, is how every transaction is made public. So in other words, if I get a transaction ID and I put it onto the blockchain network, I can see exactly the amount of Bitcoin that was paid from one of the Bitcoin wallets into another Bitcoin wallet. Who owns them? I have no idea. But the amount and the size, I can see. I can see that the time it took for that transfer. All of this information is available to us, which of course we never get such access to in the banking world. So MTI trading, I've already made mention that it uses this trading software, but it's only exclusive to the MTI members. A member of MTI is just basically and simply as a person like everybody that has ever talked to you about MTI, we are just investors. That's the bottom line, the front and the foremost of it. Trading in Forex, these bots trade from Monday to Friday. I did try my hand at trading for a bit using these bots and failed miserably, decided I should stick to my career and leave the professionals in this line to do the job. And they therefore are automatically adding our profits to the trading pool at the end of each trading day. So if you consider you've got an investment in your own, let's call it an MTI position, whatever your closing balance was of yesterday becomes the opening balance of today. The profit of today is added so that the closing balance of tonight would be your opening balance tomorrow. So automatically, there's the addition of your profits added onto your investment, which they call compounding interest. The MTI has this proven track record. So as I say, I've had the privilege of being involved since May last year already, which means that I've seen how this company has grown and expanded. I've seen how they've added on more and more information for us. And you can for sure test everything they claim, everything they state. There's a record for absolutely everything of that. And even in our back office, we have records of every single movement of Bitcoin that you might move from one place to another. If there's nothing that goes without being a record. In the learning process of all the different platforms and the schemes that I was involved on, and it's obviously what Johann Steinberg himself was involved in, he decided to take all the good parts of all these schemes and scams. And so he developed MTI in a system where we don't have to pay any joining fees. There's no administration fees or subscriptions. There's no minimal fees or monthly deductions that get made. There's no withdrawal fees. There's no penalties. In fact, if you withdraw your whole entire investment, if you so wish. So everything's carried by the company in that regard. And with all of this being generated, to make everything free like this, everything is generated from this trading bots that MTI have got access to through a software license agreement with the traders in America. Just to show you then, how is the profit shared on this trading bots? So the profits, if we look at this pie graph, this area here is the members' 40%. So let's say for argument's sake for the day, the trading bot gives us 1% profit. So 40%, 0.04% of that particular day's profit would be dedicated, and the pool of investors would be topped up. The pool of Bitcoin that the investors have got would be topped up with that day's profits. MTI will take 10%, and obviously they have to take some cut to run the operation, but it's a very small sliver compared to what they're giving away to help us as members to be able to benefit from this program. They have to pay the traders the 25%, so that's the daily fee that the traders are then claiming on the license agreement with MTI. So that's what allows MTI access to this particular software. And then you'll notice the last 25% here is part of the referral program. This is an optional extra that people can do if they want to or not. There's roughly about 10% of the whole entire organization that is benefiting from this referral program. So what it means is the company is focused on this side here. They're focused on our normal deposit that we make of Bitcoin for our investment. They want our investment to grow, and that's where they focus. So as far as this other section, the binary referral system works, that'll come in the second part of this presentation. So what makes MTI different? I guess I've already discussed all of this in comparing with other platforms where I've lost so much money and I've been scammed out of things. So I won't repeat everything, but just the bottom line is there's no fancy fees and there's no little tricks to the trade here. It's what you see is what you get. The free packages that the free access that we have to the back office, the way that they're running it, the transparency with our access to everything we have in our back office, the way we can see everything that's going on. Whenever there's a change that might take place in whatever, we are advised by the board of directors. They have a corporate governance in place. It's all registered, it's legal, it's above board. And you can imagine that the broker in America, the stipulations and regulations that they have to abide to are so stringent, there's no ways that they would, in any case, would get involved in some South African amateur company if they themselves hadn't done due diligence to find out who are these people that operates this Mirror Trading International. It provides for us a real passive income. I've experienced it as an investor for 9 months, and you have full control of the way that you can deposit and withdraw. The Bitcoin, as well, as I mentioned before, never gets converted into any currency. So that Bitcoin, it goes into the trade. There's no deductions of parts of that goes to pay Peter, Paul. What you put in is what you'll see reflected on your back office in your investment. And then, as I mentioned earlier, you get a daily compounding, which causes that investment to just keep on growing. The withdrawals, they tell us it takes 48 hours to make a withdrawal. I've never had to wait so long. However, what I can say is the moment that you receive an email to say that the withdrawal process is complete, by the time you've read your email, logged into your wallet, the Bitcoin's already there. It's really quick. And then again, there's no withdrawal fees, as I said, and no penalties if you decide to make any withdrawals. And so therefore, no cancellation fees. Just to go over and just to emphasize what you're really getting involved with here. If you bought Bitcoin and you just kept Bitcoin in your pocket, you would find that if we go from April last year when they started MTI until April this year, you would have made almost 55% profit just because you bought Bitcoin. If we take the growth just from March this year until last month, it's already 30% growth. So let alone that MTI are generating and growing our Bitcoin. If you just had Bitcoin, it would have potential growth in it in itself. So now, if we go back to September last year to April this year, the 40% member profit, so that's in that pie graph that I was pointing at, it was 141% growth there, which means that me as an investor, I experienced that 0.533% growth of the Bitcoin per day, my actual the growth of the investment that I had. And that's where we come to this claim statement of approximately 10% per month. So MTI provides us a solid service. It's really a genuine place for passive income with no tricks of the trade. You literally sit back, leave the trading up to the professionals. And then the second way that you can increase the growth of your Bitcoin is to benefit from the referral program. And now for me, just too busy every day up and down, carrying passengers around. I didn't have the, let's say, the energy and mostly the time to really get stuck into the referral program. And I was in any case quite happy to sit back and just watch my Bitcoin investment growing the way it was. However, with our lockdown that happened in April, then there were pretty much 99% of the pilots in this country, about 2,000 of us, were sitting at home without any income whatsoever. And this is, for most pilots, this is the third month of no income. So facing the reality that there was a potential of this might be what's coming, I jumped onto the referral program because the referral program is to our availability whether we use it or not. And it has been an absolute lifesaver. It's been something that, and I can revel in it because I really know the system well, having experienced it for such a long time. So as far as the actual business of investing is concerned, I can say from personal experience, there is nothing I have found, definitely in all the 5 years that I've been involved in 40 odd platforms. This is the first time that I really am comfortable to tell people about this and help people change their lives, help people to have a hope, especially in today where we're losing out on all our finances. I had an offshore account that's been running for a couple of years, and it's lost 15% from its capital, let alone all the profit it lost on top of that. And yet here, in the midst of the flailing economies around the world, this forex trading has come up as an absolute top winner. It's a $6 trillion a day place where banks are trading. Everyone's trading in the forex market. And this trading from this particular bot That's all it knows. It just knows Forex pairs, and it's all that they focus on. So for those people who've joined us tonight, to just listen to what is this company that grows Bitcoin, that's pretty much the overview of that part of this presentation. The next part of the presentation is more about the referral optional program that you can take the advantage of. And all it does, different to just a pure investor's position, is that it helps to accelerate the growth of your Bitcoin in your investment portfolio. So for those of you that came for the investment part of it, that's pretty much it. And for those who are keen to hear how this referral program works, we're going to continue from here. And certainly, as this statement is here, your chance to create a life-changing second income. This is something that in the last 2 months, there's no ways I could ever think that I would be achieving my full-time salary, which I call it that's my income on purpose, compared to this reference program which I'm earning on by accident. In other words, I'm earning more by accident than I am on purpose. It's awesome. So this is how the system works. So to be part of the referral program, simply everybody starts with an investment. And we have daily profits that are added on to this investment. So there's no other requirements in that. Just be a member of MTI with a minimum of $100 in the system. The referral fees we benefit from is 10%. And that's when a deposit of a person you invite into MTI deposits $100 or more. That 10% is paid by MTI, the company. There's nothing that comes from anyone's investment or someone's growth in the system. It's 100% a contribution from MTI. And that's also created by the way that they trade. The binary commission is the 20% of profit. If you remember back to that pie graph I showed earlier, there was a 20% of the binary commission. So binary refers to simply two. In the case of the binary that works in this referral program, you have a left leg and a right leg. You can't have more than that. So every person that joins will also have a left leg and a right leg. So for you to qualify for binary commission, you yourself have to have in your investments $200 or more. And the people that you invite with your left and right leg, a link, would then also have to have a minimum of $100 in their left and right legs respectively. The moment that you have your $200 in your position, 100 left, 100 right, you qualify for binary. Similarly, for the leadership bonus, it works very easy. In your left and right hand legs, those people must just have $200 each. So in other words, if they were to upgrade from $100 each to $200 each, that would qualify you for a leadership bonus. You will not receive anything yet. It just means you qualify for that bonus. However, once you have one of your downlines on, let's call it on your left leg, that also becomes leadership bonus qualified. So that person has 200 position filled on his left and 200 on his right. Then you will receive what they say is one share. So you'll have a part one share in the leadership bonus, and that's valid for 8 weeks. I've got a diagram we can have a look at just now, just to put a picture to this explanation. And then quite similarly, it's very easy. When one of those downlines, the people that have been referred to by your person, when they qualify with a P1, in other words, that person has got a left and a right of $200. That means that for you, that will qualify you for a part two share in the leadership bonus. And the difference with the part one and part two in this case is that the part two goes on indefinitely. It's not limited by any timed value, as long as each person in the system keeps their $200 investment or more. The binary itself, so just to explain how the legs work now, I said you've got a left and a right. So Sam is a person who's, as you can see in this diagram, he's become serious about getting involved in this referral program. So he's got someone he referred to on his left Luvo, and he called you up and you joined on his right-hand side. So in Sam's binary, on his left leg, he's got Luvo, Peter. Peter decided to copy what Sam's doing to also build a team. And Peter's got Bill and Maria on his left, Johan, Karen on his right. So that's the left leg volume that we talk about. On the right-hand side, you've decided to follow what Sam is doing. So you got your friend Sherry involved. You also invited Tabu. But while you were busy inviting Tabu down here, Sam had brought in Jack and William. So by the time Tabu now joins, the system looks for the nearest open space that it can sign in Tabu, and it happened to be under Jack and William. So Tabu and then Brucey are the two people that you brought in. Now they call it that's Jack and William. You don't know who they are, you don't know where they've come from, but they've come from above. So this is what they call the overspill. But you have benefits from the volume that Jack and William are going to contribute on your right-hand leg. So William, who brings in Hannah and Dodie, will also count for the volume, because all of this forms part of your right-hand leg. So all of this is your right-hand volume. But for Sam, everything you do on your left and everything happening below on your right, that's his right-hand volume. So in this picture, Sam has got volume of 2 Bitcoin on the left side, and he's got 10 Bitcoin in total on the right-hand side. Now have a look on the left, you'll see how they've summarized the levels that we can earn on. Up to $200, from $200, which is now to qualify for the binary and to qualify for leadership bonus, you qualify for 10 levels. So if we look now at Sam's first level would be Luvo, the second level is Peter, Sherry, Jack, his third level is Bill, Johan, and William, fourth level, so it goes down, fifth level. So 10 levels, we can earn $200 up to $1,000. Once you get to get more than 10 level earning in the binary, in your volume here now, would be to have between $1,000 and $5,000. Up to $5,000, you would then earn your 30 levels, correction, 20 levels. To earn 30 levels, you'd have to have $5,000 to $10,000. And when you get to $10,000, that's just a little bit more than a Bitcoin. You will then be able to earn infinitum of the levels. The binary calculation, the weaker leg volume, this is now how they calculate our earnings on the binary on every Saturday. So in this case here, the weaker leg volume for Sam is 2 Bitcoins on his left, 10 Bitcoin is on his right. So the weaker volume is this 2 Bitcoin. So in this calculation, the 2 Bitcoin would go here, the weaker leg volume. Then the total weaker leg volume of the binary qualified members is the entire MTI group of all the people that are binary qualified. They then take that 20% that the bot is trading every day. They average that out at the end of every week, and then that's put into this formula. And every Saturday we get rewarded with our binary bonus. And this binary bonus is paid 7 days later. So in other words, this Saturday coming now, all of us who are busy building our teams, our binary will be calculated and that bonus will be paid out next Saturday. The leadership bonus, I've already explained it on that first slide, but just to clarify and put it in a picture format here. So you've got yourself, you've got your personal reference 1 and your personal reference 2. You've got some spillover in between. And everybody here has got $200. So you qualify for the leadership bonus, but you don't earn anything quite yet. Now we get to the second step. So there's your qualifications leadership bonus. Your personal reference 2 has now signed on a person on his left and right, also with $200. And he's now leadership bonus qualified, and that counts for you as a P1. Same can happen on the left-hand side. When we get to the next level, leadership bonus 2, it's very easy. All that's happened is that person that first qualified under your personal reference 2, so he qualified for his leadership bonus. when one of his people qualified for the leadership bonus, he gets here a P1 for himself, a Part 1 leadership bonus, and for you, that counts as a Part 2. The detail of this and the calculation of how the P1 and the P2 leadership bonuses work, it will be discussed, and it's on the training that we have every weekend. So this becomes quite easy to understand, and it's not really as complex as what it looks. So just finally, to brush this all up together and tie all the loose knots, again, to reiterate, Bitcoin is only used to be traded. Bitcoin is not used to pay any other person in the systems. All the payouts are from profits only that are generated in the trade for that week. And there's no profits means there's no payout. You know, I've heard so many people saying, yeah, but it's a pyramid system because of this. And when I ask them, okay, what is the definition of a pyramid system from their point of view? Because I definitely know from personal experience. And they often come out with exactly what I've experienced. But here, you see, this company doesn't actually want people to join. It's not here begging people to join. It only wants to provide the opportunity for people to better their situation. This is an opportunity where you can say yes or no. It doesn't need people to join so that I can have my little monthly means met at all. So new members are not needed. And it's only from the trades, as we've reiterated a number of times, that we have any benefit. Your daily trading profits, they're automatically compounded, as I've mentioned earlier, and you can withdraw whatever amount of Bitcoin, the full amount, part of it, your profits only, you can decide. There's no limitations, there's no fees or penalties. This is 100% at your control. And there's no earning limits on the trades either. Pretty much that sums up what the whole binary optional program is. This is something that I'm just so excited right now to be in the receiving parts, having seen where I started from, and many of my friends to see in the situation they've been in and how they've been able to help themselves, but just following exactly what I'm doing. Not that I know how to do it, because we have fantastic leaders in the system. Gerald and Nico are my personal upline leaders as such. And with these leaders around, they have created other leaders within the network. So you'll hear names of Ian and Peter, and I shouldn't really mention names. There's so many of them. We had, for example, Ella last night that gave a presentation. So it's exciting to be part of a group of people that are caring about other people. In the process, yes, of course, we do benefit, but I like the parts where we can just help and consider other people before ourselves. The way we get started is quite simple. The person who invited you to this presentation, they will have a link for you. You become a link. You then create an MTI profile that gives you full access to the back office. It's for free. There's no costs involved, and you have access to it for 7 days, in which you should then pay and deposit your investments. Then it says here, fund the trading account with a suggested minimum of $100 worth of Bitcoin. The way that I propose to my team members is, if you take 10% of whatever liquid cash you've got or whatever saving you've got, if you don't know anything about Bitcoin, then 10% is a good place to start, to get your toes wet, to work out how does this work, practice pulling money out through the Bitcoin wallets, practice putting back in again, get comfortable with it. For those people who are already involved in Bitcoin, this is the safest Bitcoin wallet you'll find anywhere in the world. There's corporate governance in place. The pool is in excess of 9,200 coins right now. You know, that's sitting, it's in the region of $90 million, almost 1.8 trillion rand. So where in the world do we have, these kind of covers and backups? And the broker in America has the insurance to make sure that our investment is safe. And of course, again, anytime you can pull it out. The trading starts automatically. All you need to do, refer 2 people, duplicate your efforts, and this just keeps on rolling forward like a snowball. It's truly passive. I've experienced it firsthand, and I saw today that there are now 75,000 people in the group already in MTI. At the end of January, when I met Johann Steinberg for the first time, there were 9,400. It's just mind-boggling to see how many people this is really, really helping. So welcome. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for giving up this evening. And for those of you who are back at work, just wish you really well and hope that there'll be a lot of survivors out there. In my world, it's a bloodbath. But thank goodness, we have got these kind of platforms. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of information we can find on the internet. But thank you for taking the time to listen from someone who's inside the system and not just people outside who think they know what's going on the inside. Making good decisions, it's an ultimate power, as Tony Robbins says. And I hope that this is helping you to make a balanced decision, do your due diligence, find out the things that we claim. And I welcome you all on board and thank you once again.